Hello, everyone. My name is Lusanda, and it's an absolute pleasure to be hosting you tonight. Well, that's if you're in the South, where I am, or if you happen to join us in any part of the world, you are so welcome. Today, we're going to be dealing with a topic that is tagged, you see on your screen, saying, how do you use data and insights to help grow your business? Now, before we kick in, I'm not here alone. I'm with my moderator, Tatenda, who is moderating the chat function, because the best way for me to know that you are there and you're engaging with me is if you are engaging on the chat function. So his responsibility is just going to be answering any questions that you have or anything that you want to engage on. Like, first of all, we can kick off by you letting me know, where are you joining today from? I really would love to know. And I'm just expecting that you and I are going to have a great learning experience today, because that's what this whole initiative is about. And I'm super proud to say that the partners of this program is actually the Black Management Forum, who I am happen to be an alumni of. So you might see me sleeveless. I'm joining you all the way from Botswana, which is why it's a little bit warmer than if I was in South Africa. But I am South African, and I know so much about the Black Management Forum and the work that they do. But just in case, I really just want to share a little bit about what the Black Management Forum is all about. It's a non-political, non-racial, and non-sexist organization focusing on the development of managerial leadership and the creation of managerial structures that are reflective of the demographics and values of the broader South African society. Strong attention is paid to socioeconomic transformation of our country through the pursuit of justice, fairness, and equity. So the BMF strives to provide its members with access to the necessary tools to develop managerial and leadership skills through workshops such as this one. So true to their word, conferences and programs, which I've had the honor to be part of as well. We as the BMF are positioned as a thought leader through contributing to the public and producing solutions to the problems faced in South Africa. Our goal is to advocate for transformation in the social and socioeconomic sphere, and this includes lobbying for legislation that seeks to change the economic outlook in corporate South Africa and the broader South Africa. So kudos to BMF for partnering with the Google to make this possible. So, like I said, today we're dealing with data insights to help you grow your business. And pretty much we're going to be talking about three areas, namely understanding. Through this, you're going to be able to understand the right questions to ask. Especially when you're looking at the data for your own business, or you're developing the necessary data for your business. Secondly, you'll be able to identify the best tools that you can use to gain analytics and insights. And thirdly and finally, you'll be able to understand and analyze your data sets, which is the most important thing. And I think I want to first off say, it's like, like with numbers, most of us that might be in small, medium enterprises might be really intimidated by numbers. And when I say data, you might be like, oh my gosh, like all this information. But I hope today you'll be really inspired and motivated by how important and amazing it is for you to really get a grip of how data insights can help to grow your business. So, just to kick us off, I'd love to ask you this question, which is, what words would you use to describe your customers? Now, if you run your own business or you're thinking about running your own business, I want you to think about the potential customers that you'd want to reach, because this exercise is going to work for you as well. But also, if you're not running your own business, do you know that you yourself, you're a personal brand, and the world essentially are your customers? In other words, the customers of people you want to attract for a job, opportunity, conferences. So this also applies to you. So I want you to really think about, what words would you use to describe your customers? So I'm going to just take a few seconds to check if there's any responses on the chat function. And don't worry, I'm just going to be checking to my left. I'm checking my phone just to make sure that I'm not missing any of your comments, but we can keep moving as we go along. So the first part of our agenda is understanding the right questions to ask. What do I mean by this? And before I even ask, I have a second question for you. What questions do you want to ask your customers? What questions would you really want to know from them? I know, for example, I started a new business in beauty products. And so I'm trying it out with my family. And I'm asking them, how is the product? How is the feel? Is it working for you or not? So this is what I want you to engage on essentially is that what questions do you want to ask your customers? So before I move on and hear from you, I just want to do a few shout outs to the people who are joining me. I have Grace Brown watching from Chile, Johannesburg. So are you a bit envious of me, Grace, that I'm a little bit, I don't have a scarf on, but don't worry, next month I'll be joining you in Johannesburg. I have Tuli Duma from Tshwane, Tobeka Sokudela from Midrand, and Hobota Modiba, ordinary folk in our communities. That's beautiful, guys. Thank you so much. I must say, it really is beautiful to know that I have an audience beyond this lens who's actually listening to me. So please, the people that are engaging, I want you to know, answer this question for me. What questions do you want to ask your customers? All right. So basically, in terms of understanding what questions to ask, you can break these down essentially to help you know which questions to ask in four elements. First of all, identify. So this is the process for analytics. Identify your objective, what questions you need to address. Thirdly, where you get that information from. And fourthly, what do you do once you have that information? What are you going to do with it? And we're going to look at each of those very closely. So, what is your objective? And here are a few of objectives that you might like to think about in terms of developing your analytics. So, some of your examples of objectives that you can use is tell more people about my business. So, my objective is to tell more people about my business. It could be to sell more of my product or service. It could be to identify my most valuable customers. Fourthly, could be to find new ways to engage with previous customers. Like I said, with me, for example, I would add a fifth one. My one at the moment, since it's a new product, would be customer experience with my new product. I want to get feedback. Have I got the right formula or do I need to make changes to really perfect my product? So these are some of the objectives that you can set from the beginning with the end in mind in terms of developing your data analytics. Step two, what questions do I need to ask? So now that you've identified some objectives, what are the questions that you need to address? So basically, there's a very simple formula that you can use, REEN, make it nice and quick, easy for you to think about, which stands for reach, engage, activate, nurture. So REEN is basically to structure the types of questions you will need to ask about your business. So what do I mean by reach? By reach, I'm saying, who is my target audience and how do I reach them online? Secondly, are they finding what they need? In other words, when they come to your platform online, are they finding what they truly need? And thirdly, are they booking? That would now activate, that's the activation part, the A. And then finally, the N, the nurture, are they coming back? So these are the four structures that you need to run through in order for you to ask the kinds of questions that you need to know about your business. So I just want to check some of the responses that I'm seeing, the questions, the answers that you've given. So, Duduzi, I'm just going to need just more clarity. What I'm seeing here is you're asking, what challenges are they facing as small enterprises when it comes to compliance issues? So I'm just going to need more clarity on that one, and then I'm going to come back to it. Grace is saying, what are the three key problems they want us to resolve? So once again, I'm just going to get feedback and more context on just to get more clarity on these questions. Don't worry, I'm going to come back to them. So I just want to make sure that I answer them correctly. All right. So in terms of your objectives now, the third element is introduce where am I going to get the information that I need from? So in other words, what tools can you use to get analytics data and insights, and where does it come from? All right. So these are some of the tools that you can use to be able to get data. We'll look at them at a much later in a much later section, but I just really want to introduce them to you now. So number one, social channels, right? See which content users engage with. In other words, it could be Facebook. It's very important for you to know the country that you're operating. Where are your users mostly? Like, where are they engaging? It's very important because that's where you'll be able to get your analytics and data from. So, fortunately, within social channels, they really have amazing data analytics tools for you to be able to really see and understand the behaviors of your customers. So, for example, in those, you'll be able to measure views, likes, follows, shares. Your Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram have strong reporting features. I've used them and I can testify to this. And the nice thing is that it doesn't take you to be necessarily an expert for you to be able to know them. So, anyone, if you could just take the time to go, it's really, really simple. Of course, there's other channels like organic searching. In other words, where you can identify what customers are looking for and align your business with those searches and trends. Thirdly, you can look at your website. For example, my husband's always giving me the analytics for our website to say, people are interested in your website, they're going to your website, but we need a bite. Like, what's your call to action that's going to make people nurture? In other words, people come back and either purchase an item or donate, whatever it is that your call to action is on the website. So it's important for you on your website to identify which pages have the most views and which cause users to disengage or bounce off. Isn't it amazing? Like, you can really, really tell how long your customers are on your website, at what point do they disengage. Those are super, 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 super helpful tips for you to refine. We're now in a process of refining our website based on those analytics. And it's something that you're continually reviewing so that you're really getting the right attractive pull that will ultimately get your customers to bite, to engage, as well as to nurture, to keep coming back. I talked about organic search. There's also paid search and how you can then market your products to your customers using paid channels. So in other words, through the paid channels, you can really be able to identify what are your customers looking for, what type of audiences that you want to attract. Fortunately, like for example, with your Facebook, so even for Google search, you're able to really limit the range at which your campaign is going to reach. The people it's going to go to, the demographics, the age, etc. Which is why, going back to my first point of really understanding your objective is very, very important. So by the time you're using all these tools, you're very intentional and focused in your approach. So continuing with the process of analytics, what do you now do? This is the fourth step. Once you have this information. So now that I have the insights, analytics data, what do I use it for? What can I do with it? And most importantly, how does it affect the day-to-day running operations successes of your business? So these are some insights, some of the ways that you can begin to use this data. You can use it to identify market trends, what's trending. You can use it to ascertain your users' experience to better understand their path to purchase. What do I mean by path to purchase? In other words, from their first engagement with you, what is it going to take? What's that journey for them to get them to pay your product? And the more you're able to really identify what that journey looks like, the more you're able to franchise it. Once you know what the secret sauce is, the more sales you're going to make. And data analytics helps you to be able to do that. Thirdly, you can identify what content users like that will influence your content marketing plan. And that's where this ties in so nicely with market trends. Because with market trends, you can really see what are the different things that are trending that will inform the kind of content that you're going to put up for your customers. And then finally, leverage insights to shape your overall strategy. It could literally really completely change your business model, or even strategy to begin with, just through using data insights. So at this point, before I move to the next question, I just want to be able to give you the opportunity to check if there are any questions, and also just to see if I have more clarity on the other questions that were asked by Grace, etc. So I'm just going to check. All right. So basically, Grace, you were asking, let me go back to your question. It was, what are the three key service problems that the customers want to resolve? So in other words, in terms of a customer experience and the customer journey, what are the pain points for clients? And so again, it's going to be unique to your business, right? It's going to be unique. If I can give an example for myself, like I said, like with this new product, I'm selling it to just get people's feedback. And one of the feedbacks that I got with my lip balm was like, it doesn't moisturize properly as it should. I feels like I have to keep putting the lotion. That totally, for me, changed my ingredients, you see, that I was using based on that data and those insights. So it's the same for you. I think the point is, it's really important for you to care about what your customers think, where you're going to gain access to them to begin with, and from an online perspective. And so the strategy is to think of how can you get that feedback from your customers online. One of the ways that you can do that is to set up polls on Facebook, ask questions. Don't be shy to ask those questions so that you can really get the important insights, like Grace is saying, those pain points, for clients. And the thing with business is that not addressing a pain point for your customer could be opening the gap for your competitor to come in. Because remember that what drives business is answering the pain points of your customers. That's business. That's what moves someone to take out money to pay. Not necessarily because they like you, but because you're addressing a pain point. So I love what Grace is saying, that it's so important to address this, to know this. What are the pain points? Because if you don't address it, you're opening up for your competition to answer it. So Sabelo is saying, what are the problems that they would like to be resolved? So I guess it's very similar to Grace's question as well. Duduz is asking, your earlier question was, what are the challenges that customers are facing as small enterprises when it comes to compliance issues? So in other words, you're saying legal compliance issues that social enterprises face on the daily running of their businesses. I tend to deal with a number of clients who have no clue that compliance plays a crucial role in their operations. 100%. And I think a simple example of that would be, just for example, paying your annual returns. Just the other day, I was just doing a search of all the businesses that I own. And like one of them, isn't compliant for 3 years and is now under being closed down. So, keeping up to date with things like that is super, super important. Or what about SARS? Tax compliance, things like that are super, super important, because you might find yourself operating. Meanwhile, you're not compliant on a legal perspective, you're not compliant on a SaaS perspective, operations, boom. And the challenge with that is really going to suffer in terms of your credibility to your customers. So thank you guys so much for bringing those comments. I really, really appreciate them. And if you have any further questions, let's engage. And I think we really have a very informed audience tonight. So I really also want to engage with you. Please, the experiences that you've had, share them, because I'm learning. I do run my own business as well. We're all learning. And I think from each other's experiences, especially if we are small enterprises, it really, really goes a long way. So don't take your experience for granted. Share it tonight. I love it. All right. So the second section we're going to deal with is how to identify the best tools for you to use when it comes to data analytics. Firstly, I want to ask, what tools do you currently use, if any? Do you know, have you ever considered using data analytics? Let me find out where you at in terms of the audience today. What are you using? If you're not using it, have you thought about using it? And if better yet, if you weren't using it, then you are at the right place today, because that's exactly what we're going to be talking about. I'm really, really hoping that at the end of this, you're going to have one action item, which is really looking into this because it's really important for your business. All right, so I'm just going to check again for any questions, any responses to that question. I'm seeing this saying, you're saying, I like this. I'm passionate about corporate data and analysis. I also got my facilitator accreditation on leveraging data analyses to solve business problems and identify market opportunities. It's a saying, well done. Okay, well done. I'm super, super proud of you for doing this. The fact that you even took a step forward and got accreditation, because I really believe that given how digital that the world has become, what you're doing, leveraging data analysis to solve business problems and identify market opportunities, really sets you up as a cream of the cream, like creme de la creme. So I really want to encourage you to pursue that career, even if, you know what, we're living in a time where we really have to be diverse and really multiply our sources of income. And I really think for you to saying this is really going to be a key one, because it's something that business needs right now, because people are having to deal with their customers online. You know, the face-to-face interaction is becoming more and more difficulty with lockdowns, etc. So it's really a big deal, and I'm really, really proud of you for that. Well done. All right, so I want to introduce some tools that can be used. These are just some of the tools that can be used. There's online platforms. So number one, online platforms offer great features to get information about your customers. Social media, like we spoke about, your Twitters, Facebook, Hootsuite, organic search. So that will basically be on the Google Search Console as well as on Google My Business. And by the way, I'd love to know how many of you have registered for Google My Business. It's absolutely free, and it's an a great way to have your business online, but to have access, to these tools. Of course, I also spoke about websites. If you have a website, gauging the analytics from there. And with GMB, for example, I often get emails from Google that will tell me, how many customers actually, they'll say, hey, your business is getting noticed. These are amount of customers that are going into your website, or these are amount of people that have searched or called. Really great insights for you to be able to make strategic decisions for your business. And then finally, paid searches using, for example, for Google Ads. All right, so let's delve into Facebook Insights and how it actually shows information about users and customers. So Facebook Insights can help you to find out what people are engaging with your Facebook page and how they find you, which I think is absolutely critical. I'm sure all of us have had an experience where we have been asked in some survey or the other, how did you find out about us, even if it's on competitions? And guess what? That gives you proof. That's proof positive to let you know that that company cares about its data and analytics. It wants to know how you got there, so that it can really, really franchise its pathway to purchase. So basically with Facebook, you're able to Facebook and how they're finding you. So through Facebook, you're able to look at your customers' activities, page views, likes, reach, page engagement, followers, etc. Right. So let's look now at the Google Search Console. The Google Search Console I spoke to you about in terms of when you're looking at organic searches, you can basically see, gauge market trends through the Google Search Console. So the Google Search Console tools and reports help you to measure your site search traffic and performance. I gave my website as an example. It helps you fix issues and makes your site perform well within Google search results. So see which queries bring users to your site, analyze your site's impressions, clicks, and position on Google search. In other words, when I Google a certain word and all the different options come up, where does your company rank in terms of that? Submit sitemaps. So in other words, where your business is located and individual URLs for crawling. Review your index coverage to make sure that Google has the freshest view of your site. I was working with someone recently on the pictures that they had posted on GM through GMB, and I was just encouraging them, that you really have to use quality images to be able to attract people and so that they have a great impression of your site. You're also able to look at email alerts when Google identifies issues on your site. I've had that. See which URLs are affected by these issues and tell Google when you fix them. So for you to be able to see that, here's the link below if you want to learn more information of where exactly you can access all this information on Google Search Console. All right, so Google My Business. So you can use Google My Business as a tool to manage your online presence. So in other words, the front of your store, if you had a physical store, the front part, that front window where you put all your displays, that's Google My Business for you online. And basically, you're able to show, so that's your online presence across not only Google Search, but also Maps. You can create a listing which customers can use to engage with your business, market to customers, and increase your visibility. You can also leverage insights to find out how many views your listing had. And like I said, Google usually sends you an email, during the course of the month to let you know how and where customers find your listings, the actions, which is really, really critical, actions customers take on your listings, and other interactions customers have with your Google My Business listing. And I'll say that it's super, super important if you are listed on Google My Business, make sure to update things like operating hours. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to a store physically on the information I received on GMB, only to find out they were closed. That's the responsibility of you. You have to feed the information to Google so that it's able to send the most updated and freshest storefront for your business. All right, so what are Google Trends? Google Trends is trend search feature. It's a trend search feature that shows the popularity of a search from Google. So that's how you can really be able to use things like either paid ads or organic search ads based on trends that are happening to refine the words that you put up, so that when those words that are trending, you use that to associate it with your business, then your business will come up. So I'll give an example of that. Like, for example, what my husband likes to do is, like, for example, he was telling me just the other day that he got more views on his website, traffic, when he did an article on around about which data companies to use, like comparatively prices. Like here it's in Botswana, so there's Mascom and there's Orange. So he wrote a whole article around, what are the benefits between the two or the three companies. And so because people were searching for that, like searching data, router, Botswana, because of that article, his article came up. So these are the ways that trends, market trends can really help you be able to, be searchable basically and beat your competition online. So you can view whether a trend is on the rise or declining. I think that's really cool. You can also find demographic insight, related topics, and related queries to help you better understand the Google Trends. Google Trends also provides access to a larger unfiltered sample of actual search requests made to Google. It's anonymized. No one is personally identified, categorized, determined. In other words, categorized, determining the topic for a search query and aggregated groups together. So I think that's really, really important for you to know.
Mommy.
Wow. And my daughter just steps in. Hello.
Can you charge my tablet, please?
Okay, please go, Daddy, because Mommy's working. The power of working from home. Apologies for that. So basically, what I was saying was that it was that Google Trends provides access to a largely unfiltered sample of the most popular searches on Google. Again, Google Trends allows you to display interest in a particular topic from around the globe or down to city level geography. Google Trends data reflects searches people make on Google every day. So it's like real time data and information that you can collect and make use of. But it can also reflect irregular search activity, such as automated searches or queries that may be associated with attempts to spam or search results. And this is really, really important. Like, for example, how often do you receive an email from someone claiming that you've now the recipient of an inheritance? And they basically use a platform to access our data, and through that platform they were able to see, no man, people are starting fake accounts, this can't be real, I can be able to block them. So it's really important for you to be able to know that as well, because all sorts of people can engage with you online, and you want to be able to know, is this a genuine customer or someone trying to swindle you in one way or the other? All right. So with Google Trends, you can rise above the competition, like I said. And basically, you do this by finding relevant trending topics. Doing this helps you to see clearly whether the search volume is increasing or declining. I think that's really, really cool. Like able to tell real time whether a certain trend is declining or it's inclining or declining. So Google Trends also allows you to see seasonal trends in one clear-cut shot. You can monitor competitors, wow, identify steady keywords for search engine optimization, find topics by region, target customers. So that's really important, because it means you can find topics that are trending. For example, some of you told me you're in Chile, Johannesburg, or you're in Midrand. You'll be able to really be able to say what's trending in Midrand, what's trending in Alexander, what's trending in Soweto, and be able to use that to leverage for your business. So you can really target customers at a local level, regional level, or even at global scale. So if you want to find out more information about this, the link is just below at obelo.co.uk/blog on Google Trends for you to really get more information about this. If you don't see it, because I'm not super sure if you are seeing it, but if you don't, I'm just going to ask my moderator to, if you're interested in this topic specifically, if you want to go to this blog, to put it on the chat function. All right, let's talk about Google Analytics. So Google Analytics basically is used to understand what customers do on your website. That's for you guys that already have a website or you're thinking about a website. Google Analytics really helps you to understand what customers are doing on your website. So in other words, it gives you complete information to understand your site and app users. It also includes apps to better check the performance of your marketing, content, products, and more. And it's very important, a website has to have a call to action. You have to think about, as I'm developing this website, what is my call to action and to who? And once you have that pinned down, you're able then to use Google Analytics to say, what I've produced this website helping me to achieve my call to action? So for example, if your call to action could be people going to your site and actually purchasing your product, that's a very strong and popular call to action. So you can get insights only Google can give. In other words, access Google's unique insights and machine learning capabilities to make the most of your data. You can then connect those insights to actual results. In other words, analytics works with Google's advertising and publisher products, so you can use your insights to deliver business results. We're going to take now a deeper look at the different features and ways we can use analytics in the next few slides. But first, I'm going to pause because I feel like I've said so much and then my daughter stepped in. I'm just going to pause just to check if anyone has any other insights, comments, or questions from the chat function. All right, thank you so much, Grace. I see that you say, could you use this for competitor analysis as well? What would be the best way to get those insights as well? So, yes. So, remember when I spoke about Google Trends, that one of the cool features with Google Trends is that you actually can analyze your competitors as well. And I would say that, it's very, very important for us to read. Most businesses now are putting their articles and thoughts on LinkedIn, writing blog posts. And this is with some of the insights that you can be able to gain on your competitors. So sometimes Google search your competitors and see any blogs written about them to get even more data insights about them beyond, for example, the Google Trends, the features that you're able to get. Thank you so much for that, Grace. So now we're going to look at how do you understand and analyze your data. So the Google Analytics dashboard, this is basically what you're seeing currently, what it would look like when you actually go on. You can look at things like geographic location to gain insight on your target market. You can look at geographical locations, in other words, where your customer is based, popularity over time, active users. Who are your active users? Because those are the people, according to Reen, like I told you earlier, and that you want to nurture so they keep coming back. You can look at visits. Visits are important for you to really be able to understand and solidify your customer journey. So you're able to tell, for example, how long are people on your website, which page they're on, and what point they start to disengage. So then you can really analyze, how can I make these customers go beyond this page into where your main call to action is? Or you can even place your call to action on the page that you find people are visiting the most. And so the other last part, which is super important, is how do you acquire users? How do you increase your current reach? Now, I'm going to take you through how to set up your Google Analytics account if you don't have one already. And I'm hoping that by the end of today, you are going to be super excited and motivated to have one. So you go to google.com/analytics, name your account. Name of your account. So this is important, especially if you have multiple accounts. Choose the industry category you want to that to help you when you benchmark against others who have tagged the same industry. Example: consumer electronics or marketing. Again, how do you differentiate yourself from your competitors? This anonymous, but this is anonymous, but at an aggregated level to give you an idea of what your bounce rate is against others, right? In other words, what is your bounce rate against other people, as a who perhaps have whose customers who they've been able to reach stay longer on their platforms. So direct attendees to the Google. So basically, there is the Google and excuse me. There's a free training course for you to be able to really, really sink your teeth into this. And I think I'm trying to think who it was that says that they're really passionate about this. Based on your accreditation, but this might also be great to look at. It's basically the Google Analytics Academy. It's a free course you can take there. It's available on analytics.google.com/analytics/academy. And I'm just going to ask my moderator to put that link in case you're not seeing it on the screen for yourself. So where do you find the tracking code? So this is basically to track your site's performance. You need to add the correct tracking code to its pages, all right? So when using a website builder or a blog, There may be a simple field where you can add the tracking ID for your website. So if you look at your screen, you basically look out for the block where you're able, that basically prompts you to be able to add your tracking ID for your website. And this is basically for tracking codes on website builders or blogs for your business. So that's really cool. If you're someone that really likes doing blogs, you can also do this feature for your blogs as well. So there are four main areas on analytics, and all of Google Analytics reports are grouped into four main areas to help us answer those questions that we mentioned before. In other words, you're able to see these, you will see that in this area on the navigation menu on the left side of your home screen, right? So if you can look at the on the screen, this is basically where you're able to see the areas of reporting. In other words, the different information that you're going to be receiving on Google Analytics. In other words, you're going to be able to understand who are your users, who's your audience, who's your customer, who are the people that are interested in your space, in your website, etc. How did they find me? Which is really important, again, because that speaks into your customer journey, acquisition, because that's going to be able to let you know how you can grow your acquisition. Thirdly, what do they do when they're on your site? Behavior, right? So each question is helping you understand who's your audience, how do you acquire this audience, what is their behavior, and finally, have they completed the goals I want to track? In other words, conversions. Have I converted them from someone who's interested to really be someone who's going to fulfill that N, the nurture, or even the A, the E, the engagement, and who's active. So these are the four reporting information that you're going to be able to get insight on Google Analytics. So for conversions to work, goals have to be set up to track specific actions. Once you've mastered the basics, this is really, really, really worth doing. And then Google will then use that data and show you a series of reports. So this is basically, if you look at your screen, this is how valuable and how real the data that you can get. So in other words, from there's those two columns, which is dimension, the channel, and then the number, which is the metrics. So in other words, if you look at dimension, the channel could be, if you're using organic search engine, the metrics would be how many people through a organic search engine have actually engaged on your platform. How many new users do you have? How many recurring users do you have? So this is really, really powerful data that you can use for your business. All right, so let's go back to the REAN concept and let's start talking about the tips that you can practice towards really putting this to work. So remember, R stands for reach. How are people finding you online? Identify which search terms are driving the organic traffic on your site, and you can do that through market trends. Look to improve links from your social media platforms. In other words, when people see a certain engagement on, let's say, Facebook, and you have a link, do people move from seeing it, liking it, to actually clicking on that link? So you can move to improve the links from your social media platforms. Develop relationships with referral websites to drive more traffic to your site. So you can piggyback off other websites that can refer people to your website. And a simple example I can use is, let's say on LinkedIn, writing articles that link, from reading that article, it links back to your website. E, engage. How can you improve your E? What are people engaging? That's the question you're asking. What are people engaging with when they find you online? And some of the ways that you can improve this is learn which pages are not getting any views on your website. right? So, which are the pages that are just dead? In other words, they really have no function in terms of engaging people and receiving traffic. Secondly, discover what is really engaging to your visitors. Learn this. Ask questions, like I said with Facebook polls. Really learn what is truly engaging to your customers, to your visitors. For example, you could discover that you lose a lot of people at the payment page, right? This page might need to be simplified. Maybe your payment process is just way too complicated. Reduce, in other words, you can reduce the fields to fill. So, for example, a client that my husband was dealing with, on his payment page, someone had to download the application form, fill it out, scan it, and send it to an email address. I mean, that's just tedious. It's too long of a process. So now they've included a form, a simple form on the website that people can engage and be able to to buy their service. They're in the service industry. So these are the things that these are the tips that you can use to really up your game in terms of engage. The A, activate. What channel is driving the most bookings? So to improve that, identify which referring sites drive conversions. Two, for referring sites bringing good quality traffic, can you develop a partnership with them? Look out for underperforming referring sites and consider reviewing the partnership. And then number four, nurture. Are your customers happy to leave a review? Get genuine feedback from people that you know. Get genuine feedback from people we know have brought our products. In other words, like I said with my product, get genuine feedback from them. How is the product? How is the experience? Get that feedback so you can really know how to get customers that come back. Secondly, respond to all reviews, good and bad. I cannot stress this enough. I was advised this when I was on Airbnb that even if it's bad, don't ignore it because these reviews can't be deleted. It's better to address it, acknowledge it as open as you can, and be professional. If your customer is being rude, you be the one that is professional. If it's a situation of saying, I apologize, people are generally very forgiving, but let it be open because reviews are super important when it comes to the integrity of your business online. So make sure that you are the one that responds to the good reviews. So encourage your customers to give you reviews online. And when they give you reviews, good or bad, please respond to them. If it's an apology, follow that apology with what are you going to do to make things right. Don't just say, I apologize. Apologize and say, this is how I'm going to make things right. And most of the time, people are forgiving when you communicate. And then finally, try different ways to encourage purchasers to leave a review. What works best? Do more of that. So in other words, whatever is working well, do more of that. All right. So Google Trends homepage lets you do the following. It helps you to explore what the world is searching for, and by entering a keyword or a topic in the explore bar, it helps you to see stories curated by the news labs at Google that provide additional insight found in the data. So this section is only available, I must say, in some countries. So we need to check if it's available in South Africa. See daily search trends, excuse me. It enables you to see year-in search data, find guidance materials about news labs and trends. So the trending searches page shows trending searches around the world. You can click on a story to get more context, like more relevant articles or trending queries. So with daily search trends, for example, it highlights searches that jump significantly in traffic among all searches over the past 24 hours and updates hourly. And then with real-time search trends, it highlights searches that jump significantly in traffic among all recent searches. The algorithm for real-time search trends groups topics together that are trending at the same time on Google News and search and ranks those stories based on the relative spike in volume and the absolute volume of the searches. So basically, how can you use now Google Trends to check seasonal trends and adjust to demand? You basically, seasonal trends allows your business to stay relevant, of course, and competitive. Like the question I got earlier is, how do I become more competitive? How do I keep, up to breast? So this is what Google Trends allows you to do. So throughout the year, your business will experience peaks and dips that will impact your revenue, of course. So Annika might use Google Trends to identify seasonal trends in types of clothing. This is just an example, right? In types of clothing. Create content about current trends that adjust to the demand. So, like today is just such a good example. I was with a business owner, a woman, exactly with clothing. She makes clothing. And then with Facebook, she said she put a certain price to be able to do hospital wear. And then she then used data to be able to analyze, no man, at this price, people feel it's too expensive. And then she simply dropped the price, put the post again on Facebook. Next thing, she gets queries and orders every day. So do you see how direct this Google Trends data analytics is in terms of really affecting the revenue for your business? So basically, you can use Google Trends to research keywords. So Google Trends shows what searches and keywords are trending. Use the related queries section to use trends. So you use the related queries section to use trends to identify other potential keywords to tag to your business. Name your product categories according to popular keywords. Excuse me. Optimize your posts according to trending keywords. So, for example, Annika looks for blouses. Here are the related keyword searches that are trending for that. Okay. All right. So I've said a lot. And now this is the opportunity for you to ask me any questions and me for just to reflect. I'm aware that we did start late. So I'm just going to take another further 5 minutes so we can really get through everything. I'm just going to check if you have any questions or on at this point in time. All right. So there are no further questions or comments at this point. All right. As we're thinking through all that I've shared, I want you to take a moment to think through the information and just think about what's the one thing that you're going to take away from this and that you're going to action. It's very important for you at the end of this and write it down. Each of you are at different levels of your career, but let this hour, let's make it count. And the most important way to do that is to really reflect on all that I've said, the benefits of Google Analytics in terms of your business, but in terms of where you're at. It could be that you weren't on Google My Business, and that's the one thing that you're going to make sure you do either tonight or tomorrow. It could be that perhaps you're just going to go on your Facebook page if you do paid searches and just look at the analytics page and just really look at those insights and strategize around how does it impact your business. It could be that you're going to look at your website and really think, is it really helping me achieve my objectives, my call to action in terms of revenue driving, or whatever it is that you want to achieve to help your business to grow? For me, that would be an amazing takeaway. And if you already have an answer to that, I want you to please let me know in the chat function. What is that one thing that you're going to do in terms of what we've discussed today? What are you going to change following this session? And how are you going to implement this? So please write it for me. I would love for you, if you feel I've shared some links to free courses that you can do earlier. There's more Google Grow with Google courses that you can do on the website. And Tatenda is going to be looking at those providing you with those links, the grow.google links. And this is where you can find all sorts of amazing short courses and training programs to really up the game in terms of growing your business online. And if you have any other further questions, we are on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. So you can find us over there. And the moderator, Tatiana, is going to put those links over there. And most importantly, We want to grow and make sure that this program is valuable for you. I mean, it's in partnership with BMF. We want to see how do we improve this. So Tatena is also going to be giving you a survey, a link, just to give us feedback on how can we do this better, what information do we need to include, how do we make it relevant for you. And I'm going to leave the best for last. You can actually access a certificate for attending tonight. So, in order to do that, Tatina is going to leave the link over there for you to be able to gain a certificate. Hey, Google is a great brand. Make use of it. Grab that certificate in any way that it can really up your game or up your profile, even on your business. Make use of it. It's for free. It's for you. So I'm super grateful that you joined me today, and I want to thank you so much for your interaction. It was amazing. If you want to interact even more, go to our social media handles. Give us your feedback on what you think about tonight. And before I sign out, I'm just going to check if any of you have any further questions, comments. All right. If that is all, I'm super grateful. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I hope to find you in another session. This is my second session with the Black Management Forum. It's absolutely a pleasure for me. Good night or good day. If you're joining me for another part of the world, have a wonderful, wonderful day further. God bless you. Thank you. Signing out from me and Tatenda.